Hey, this is Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to talk about a topic called confidence. Now, the big thing about confidence is that I've known for a long time that confidence is what separates people from reaching their goals to not reaching their goals. So let's talk about it. Confidence for some people, especially me, was something I had to develop over a long period of time. Coming from about 13 years old when my dad passed away and I first started getting in really heavy into lifting weights, the lifting actually created a lot of confidence. It showed me that if I was willing to work hard enough, I was able to do whatever I wanted to do, and gave me an immense level of ability to have pride in myself and what I accomplished. But what I've noticed is talking to a lot of people is that they lack confidence. They may not show it on the outside, but on the inside, they really don't have confidence. Funny personal stories. I was actually talking to my grandma. She's 85 or so now. And I was like, Grandma, what were some of the things that you might have regretted in your life that you didn't do? And she's like, I wasn't confident enough in myself to go to school at a higher level past high school. Now, this was in the 50s, and going past high school was very rare for a lot of people. A lot of people didn't do college back then, but she always had a dream of going to college, and she never really had a lot of self-confidence to be able to push her education. Well, fast forward 50 years, I almost had the same issue. I was told by a lot of my high school teachers that I wasn't college material, and a lot of them had only seen me at freshman year, sophomore year, junior, and senior. Had no idea that my dad had passed away and I was dealing with a lot of weird shit. So they started pushing me into vocational and technical high school classes and such. So basically, the problem was I was categorized as a vocational worker, which there's nothing wrong with that, versus someone that goes to college. So right out of high school, I go to welding school, and I go to Purdue for a welding certificate. I pass with flying colors, and I get hired as a maintenance welder at the local hospital in Muncie, Indiana. Now, this is where everything changed, because at this time, I had not quite yet done my job shadow with John Touring at the Colts. I was on the track to either working in the hospital as a maintenance guy, as a maintenance welder, to fix anything that broke and needed work with steel or any kind of mechanical things. And I was starting the process of going into the pipe fitters union. During this time, I'm working with a guy named Ted Stevens. Now, Ted Stevens was a badass, hard-ass welder that worked on the Alaskan pipelines in the 70s and made enough money within about 5 or 10 years to completely retire. Worked massive amounts of hours in the middle of nowhere building these Alaskan pipelines. And so he was kind of my mentor at this time. I met Ted through the Shrine Club. So my grandfathers were involved with the Shriners, which is a great organization that helps kids that were burned, and they have their own hospitals where they help a lot of people for free. So I washed dishes at the Shrine Club and met Ted there. And Ted needed a really strong young kid to help him pick up these pipes and weld all these steam lines and chilled water lines and all these other things. So that was kind of my process, and Ted was pushing me into the pipe fitters union. After about 6 months, I caught on very quickly, and I was doing very well with the pipes, and I remember working like 10, 11-hour days. Now, keep in mind, in 6 months of working with Ted Stevens, I had saved up enough money to go to college for 4 years. And that's actually what kind of got me into school. And one day, had a really hard day. We were working in this really hot room with a ton of steam lines. And Ted looks at me and goes, Matt, you don't want to do this shit your whole life. You need to go do something better. I know you like lifting weights. You need to figure out a career with that. So I tell him, okay, I'll go try and enroll at school. Because Ball State University was literally, the admissions office was across the street from where I was working. And so I go into admissions, I fill out the paperwork to apply for school. 2 weeks later, I get a letter in the paper, and I'm super anxious because this is a crossroads for me. And I really don't have a lot of confidence with schooling anyway, so this was a long reach for me. And I get this paper, and this paper says, we appreciate you signing up for school. Unfortunately, your grades were not good enough in high school for us to accept you in college. And I'm just like, son of a bitch, right? What am I gonna do? Ted was completely wrong. I fucking knew it. I wasn't gonna be able to get in, blah, blah, blah. So I go back and I'm huffing, puffing, pissed, right? And I throw this paper down at Ted, and I'm like, look, Ted, I fucking told you I couldn't get into school. They denied me. And he goes, that paper doesn't mean anything. Get your ass back over there and talk to an admissions advisor and tell them that you mean business, and show them your fucking bank account, that you have enough money that you've saved up working your ass off for 6 months to pay for an entire 4 years of school. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not gonna do anything. And he forced me literally on a lunch break to go over there. So we go over there, and long story short, I sit down, and the guy that was in charge of admissions worked out at the local YMCA that I trained at, and said, hey, you're that guy that's been on the news for breaking world records and being a world record powerlifter. And I was like, yeah, I really want to do something with this. I really want to be some type of a strength coach or something in the health and wellness field. And so at the time, creatine monohydrate was a very new supplement. This was like 1998, 1999. And he said, what do you think about creatine monohydrate? And I said, well, it works by drawing more water into the cell of the muscle, therefore bringing in more ATP stores, blah, blah, blah. And his eyes just light up. And he goes, you've really been studying this stuff. I'm like, well, I've wanted to be as strong as I could for the last 6-7 years, and I study everything I can. He goes, well, I'm not gonna make you any promises, but I'll try to get you into school. So 2 weeks later, again, I get a letter of acceptance based on probation, meaning they're gonna let me in school, but if in the first semester I don't score at least like a 2.8 GPA, I have to leave. So now the game's on. Confidence level is at an all-time iffy situation. Going into my first semester, I have chemistry, I got English, which, as you can tell, when some people want to fix my spelling, is not the best in the world. They wanted, all these math courses, and I had to work my ass off. Well, in working that ass off, my first semester, I ended up getting a 3.6 GPA, and I got on the dean's list and proved to myself that I could do this. So the lifting is what actually got me into school, and then the first semester of getting on the dean's list is what created my confidence. So what I'm saying to you guys is that, listen, everybody has a different set of cards, everybody has a different set of parents, everybody has a different scenario. But what I find separates average people from not creating their best or being as successful in lifting, life, or anything doesn't have to do at all with talent. Sometimes it does, but not always. What I really think it means is how much confidence do you have in yourself to go get what you want and work hard for what you want. So again, I hope this helps you guys. If you're on the fence about going to school, or you're on the fence about a new business venture, you can do anything you set your mind to. It's just, what are you going to set your mind to do? I set my mind to break world records. I set my mind to get a master's degree, and I was not the smartest nor the strongest person at that time, but I was willing to look long term. And long term, I knew that if I wanted to be the best, I was going to have to last a long time, which led to smart training. I knew if I wanted to get a job like what I have today with multiple fire departments and military contracts, that I was going to have a master's degree, and I just busted my ass to get to that point. So don't set yourself short. Your achievability is so much higher than what you think. So hop on winningstrength.com and let us help you out with anything that we can.